there exists a certain intellect that refrains from proclaim with fervor to ensure your voice resonates. It refrains from contestation. It does not pursue. It cunningly infiltrates the chamber, and all things, aspiration, cunning, adulation, insurrection, immobilizes. What compels one to inquire thus? For all assembled are acutely aware of this intellect, is impervious to manipulation. This intellect is not sentimental. This intellect perceives with clarity all matters of consequence, and most lamentably, it fails to do so. Extend clemency. This is the sort of intellect. One must nurture ambitions in the shadows, away from the prying eyes of rivals. Indeed, to display one's prowess, not to instill fear, but to domination. He referred to it as the unyielding intellect, not out of cruelty, but rather due to its inherent nature. Invulnerable, unyielding to frailty, impervious to, unburdened by remorse, impervious to the clamor that surrounds. And once you construct it, there is no necessity for direct orders. Subservience. Individuals present it willingly. Let us commence with the groundwork laid. Indomitable lucidity. Of ambition, the multitude is ensnared in a web of confusion. They remain oblivious to their true desires. Those individuals. Uncertainty shrouds the offerings laid before us. They turn the tables. Amidst the delicate dance of indulgence and remorse, aspiration and apprehension, allegiance and bitterness. Moreover, for their ambitions are swayed by the caprices of sentiment. The thoughts of others can be deftly swayed by all things, a praise, a warning, a diversion. Yet the cunning intellect, it serves but a singular aim, while all else pales in comparison. Submits to it. This clarity is not easily attained from a carefully crafted tableau of aspiration. It originates from an unyielding discourse with one's own conscience. What is it that you seek? Do I genuinely desire to transcend the confines of comfort? Who ought to? Am I beginning to grasp the matter at hand? What am I prepared to? What shall be sacrificed in the pursuit of greater ambitions? Once this has been achieved, upon making a decision, the clamor fades into silence. Cease your actions, elucidating. Cease your indecision. Thou, cease to be swayed by the whims of others' judgments. Objective transforms into your shield. Distraction transforms into your adversary. Emotion transforms into your instrument of power. Most individuals meander aimlessly through the currents of life. You take the wheel, and that is the essence of power, a subtle maneuver in the grand game of influence. The divergence instills a profound fear within them. Unquestionable mastery of one's emotional expressions. Comprehend this truth. Individuals do not tremble at what one perceives. They dread that which eludes their grasp. Peruse with intent. If you recoil at the sting of an insult, if one may find amusement in the flattery bestowed upon them, particularly when words falter. In times of duress, one may find it prudent to provide them with a guide to navigate their desires. Dominate you. Yet the cunning intellect is expressionless, as anticipated, incomprehensible. It understands that the greater your knowledge, expose, for the more you disclose, the less dominion you possess. Machiavelli's intellect was constructed akin to a reflection. In moments of provocation, maintain an air of composure. In the face of commendation, let one embrace the art of silence. At the moment, assaulted, reveal naught, for the reason that an emotional reaction serves as a valuable currency, and a mind devoid of mercy invests not a single coin. This does not imply a lack of feeling. It signifies your emotions are but disciplined soldiers, never to be unruly. Foolhardy interlopers. One may unleash their fury. One possesses the ability to act, experience delight. One may indeed experience the weight of sorrow, yet solely, in secrecy. Always act in accordance with your own timing, never yielding to the desires of others. This calculated aloofness is disturbing. It incites doubt among the masses, one's own dominion, and when manipulation falters, they diminish. Immediate, the discernment of vulnerabilities in one's adversaries. Machiavelli's most formidable instrument was not cruelty. It was a calculated observation. He possessed the capability. Witness a man utter his words and discern the fracture within. The individual. He heeded not the pursuit of answers but rather reveals the term they have uttered with excessive frequency. The silence they deftly evaded. The individual. They persisted in their defense. The instant they pursued affirmation. These were not merely idiosyncrasies. They were fissures, strategic manipulation of the mind, junctures through which authority escapes. A mind devoid of mercy is a cunning seeker of knowledge. It inquires, what desires stir within this individual? Whom do they seek to manipulate in their dread of loss? To captivate? What renders them devoid of reason? Thus, remain silent. Guard the wisdom. Employ it judiciously, for its true value reveals itself in moments of significance. Address the anxieties that dwell within an individual, all while remaining unseen. Ever disclosing it, there exists no necessity to do so. Subjugate them. They acquiesce within. The expulsion of remorse as a calculated choice. Craftsmen. The fabric of society conditions one to submit to the weight of guilt. Consider the emotions they may harbor. Extend your kindness judiciously. Exercise caution and avoid causing harm to others. This is a most astute approach. To maintain a position of weakness is to embrace a strategy of folly. For guilt is but a shadow of true morality. It exists merely as a tool to manipulate the conscience. Manipulative conditioning orchestrated by others to ensure that you fulfill their desires. Comfort is but a fleeting illusion. The cunning intellect, it scrutinizes. Each pang of guilt is met with a query. Is this guilt a legitimate burden or merely a chain to bind you? One cannot ascend to power while perpetually expressing regret for the desire to seek greater fulfillment. At times, one must not hesitate to cast aside those who siphon one's vitality. One must disregard pleas for yet another moment. Opportunity. One must decline without revealing a reason. One must strategically withdraw from the manipulation of individuals who find themselves ensnared by your gaze. And when let that guilt ascend, resist not its presence. Do not submit to it. Observe it closely. Then make your selection, driven by cunning strategy rather than fleeting emotion. For once individuals comprehend that guilt has ceased to hold sway over them, manipulations upon you, their hold is relinquished. In the depths of solitude, I embrace the chilling truth. I stand alone, unyielding and resolute. The cunning intellect and the most dreaded, the hallmark of every astute individual, self-containment. Many individuals traverse the world in a state of perpetual supplication. In hushed tones, affirm my worth. Remain by my side. Do not abandon me. Affirm my significance. And, for they yearn for bonds more than anything else. They yield. They endure. Disregard. They postpone their ambitions. They concede to the whims of those who would not shed a drop of blood for their cause. Yet a mind devoid of mercy originates from a distinct realm. In the solitude of my existence, I find myself burdened by the weight of obligation. Nothing. Those who choose to align themselves with me must augment fortitude, not mass. This does not cruel solitude. It signifies self-sufficiency. Prior to engagement, their necessity is rendered moot. You select them, and should they transform, treacherous, insolent, or perilous, one does not respond, one relinquishes without hesitation, imploring, unannounced, devoid of remorse. Such a degree of sentiment, self-sufficiency is the very chain that binds one in inaction. Individuals, for they come to understand their own limitations. No longer shall one wield loneliness as a tool of manipulation. Henceforth, with the groundwork firmly established, we shall now proceed to the subsequent stage. How to wield this intellect in strategic conflict, the art of triumph without engaging in conflict, and how to manipulate others to ponder their own existence merely by remaining still. A cunning intellect does not concern itself with disorder. It is not merely a matter of harshness. It is, regarding clarity so piercing it cleaves through. Every visage in the chamber conceals a purpose. Engaging in conflict is not the path to ascendancy. You remain steadfast. You offer no justification. You merely cast a glance upon another, and they shall commence to. They question their own capabilities. This is not sorcery. It is tactics. Herein, we shift our focus from the essence within manifests outwardly. With your resolve firmly established, we master the art of rendering individuals immobile without exerting the slightest effort. The gaze that perceives the essence of beings, the might of keen observation, supremacy, the majority converse to assert. One must listen intently, for within the shadows lie truths concealed from the untrained eye. Upon your entrance, silence envelops the space, and you remain mute. Assess the situation. Who holds the stage? Who possesses the influence? Uncomfortable. Who seeks to curry favor? Whom do you suspect is observing your every move with undue scrutiny? You assert, inferior to none. In this manner, you compel all others to disclose greater truths. This is the essence of Machiavelli's profound understanding. Silence is not merely the lack of sound, it is the deliberate removal of noise, a calculated withdrawal that serves a greater purpose. The cunning intellect does not merely observe, it studies with the precision of a surgeon on the hunt for vulnerabilities lie concealed beneath the surface, and when one perceives a composed scrutiny, silently devoid of sentiment, they commence their endeavor to feel exposed. Their pride shatters, their assurance quakes, they fumble, they over-explain, they endeavor to secure your seeking validation, yet you withhold it. Such is the nature of power. When the balance of power alters, articulate in, only through precision shall one achieve greatness. Anything less is a folly to be avoided. Each utterance ought to serve the dual purpose of elucidating or rectifying, or dominion. No whispers, no superfluous tales devoid of moralistic discourses. Each instance, your words, indeed, must disrupt the established order of the chamber. For instance, when others magnify, you diminish. When others meander not, for your words must strike with precision and deadly intent. Truths, when others jest to deflect, you maintain an unyielding composure. This disparity alone induces a sense of unease among the populace. They ponder, what is the reason behind this trepidation? Does he not mirror our own responses? What is her stance? Are you aware of our ignorance? Your aloofness speaks volumes, transforms into an enigma within the realm of society. Dynamics breeds stagnation, for when one remains oblivious to your true intentions, they adhere to caution, for therein lies the mastery of control. Abandon the notion of directives. Allow individuals to linger in uncertainty, themselves through their own rhetoric. A cunning intellect understands that engaging in dispute is a futile endeavor. The naive, you watch and allow them dig their own grave. Allow another to attempt. Endure their barbs with composure. Remain unyielding. Allow their words to flow unchallenged. Excess is to be avoided. A subtle nod suffices. Allow them to deceive themselves. Consider it a strategic observation rather than a mere adjustment. The instant you reveal an absence of sentiment, in their increasing desperation, they seek to incite one, and in due course, they concede as well. Greatly, they expose their envy, their insecurity, a relentless fixation. Now you understand precisely where to deliver a blow without ever striking. The cunning Machiavelli held a skepticism in responding to the foolish. He held a conviction in allowing them to reveal their true selves completely, thereafter executing a singular, calculated maneuver, frequently. In due course, when the stakes were highest, endurance is not a sign of frailty. It is a calculated ruthlessness. Cast aside the desire for approval, and you shall command respect. The majority of intellects are shackled by affability. They pursue grins, validation. In the pursuit of inclusion, they inevitably transform into gentle, easily anticipated, susceptible to influence. Yet, the cunning intellect does not exist to be appreciated. It exists to be experienced, to be recalled, to instill dread for its silence, often overlooked for its allure. This does not imply a lack of civility. It signifies a calculated approach, unconcerned with the favor of others. Articulate what is necessary to utter, regardless of whether it soothes or wounds. Depart without the craving for recognition. Alas, your absence speaks volumes beyond the mere weight of your presence. One must recognize that popularity is a fickle ally. While the masses may harbor disdain, it is the shrewd and cunning who ultimately prevail. They shall ponder your existence as they deliberate on their choices. Choices. Such power holds greater worth than any praise must be wielded with precision. Command the narrative of each engagement. In the realm of discourse, a singular truth prevails. An individual establishes the parameters while the other responds accordingly. The frame dictates the essence of the discourse. Concerning the matter at hand, one must ponder who wields the reins of power. Ultimately, it is the essence of what holds significance that prevails, and what remains unscathed. Feeble intellects tread into the perspectives of others. They respond, inquire, justify their positions, endeavor to elucidate their worth. The unyielding intellect, it evades the inquiry, steering the discourse elsewhere. He who dictates the subject defines the conditions. For instance, inquired, what prompted such an action? I demand an explanation. What is the reasoning behind this? Does it concern you? To be humiliated in front of others. Retreat into silence and depart. Number. Defense. Interrogated with fervor. Grin. Subtly divert the conversation. The moment you resist being swayed, you fortify your stance. My presence is not required. To secure your favor, I wield the reins of influence over what are aware of their own interests. They will inevitably act in accordance with them. One cannot govern the tale that unfolds in one's presence. They cease their efforts. They conform to your frame their narrative or succumb to silence. Such is the nature of power. You assert your supremacy over social dynamics without. Elevate your tone. Allow your reputation to do the talking. Prior to your actions, the most cunning intellects, there is no necessity for lengthy preambles, for by the moment they make their entrance, their standing precedes them, enters first, and a reputation forged in the crucible of cunning, quietude, calculated aloofness, and the art of psychological unpredictability yields greater outcomes than instill fear. It renders one immobile. Individuals. He seldom deigns to clarify his intentions. She severed ties. One might dismiss another for far less than this. He is perilous not due to his boisterousness, but for he remains unyielding. This presence is constructed gradually through the art of measured restraint, strategically by withdrawing when slighted, by administering repercussions, absent any proclamations. Ultimately, individuals dread not merely opposing you, but bewildering you, for in bewilderment lies to silence, and in your realm, silence is exile. At this juncture, the metamorphosis is in motion. You have eradicated the necessity for endorsement. You have mastered the art of your silence to actions resonate more profoundly than mere utterances, and you have transformed your insights into the unseen. In matters of power and strategy, one must not forget the lessons of the cunning. Yet, Machiavelli would urge you to remember, power that remains dormant is power squandered. A merciless. The mind is not merely constructed for the purpose of defense. It is crafted to manipulate the very fabric of existence, to manipulate the atmosphere within a chamber without, to subdue the astute through force, rendering them defenseless, perpetually engaging, to influence those of great authority. I find myself enveloped in uncertainty in your presence. Thus, one must master the art of tightening one's grip. In the shadows, let your silence become a formidable weapon. Silence, when wielded ineffectively, becomes nothing more than an uncomfortable void. Yet, when wielded with intent, silence transforms into an embodiment of mental constriction. Herein lies the mechanism. An individual poses a query of a personal nature. You halt, locking your gaze. Reach out, yet utter not a word. An individual casts aspersions upon you. You regard them, unwavering, devoid of anger or sorrow, merely. Yet, a revelation unfolds as one dares to unveil a hidden truth, unseemly, seeking to provoke a response. Limitations. You refrain from mirth. You abstain from acknowledge. Merely gaze with feigned courtesy as you were oblivious to the unfolding events. What transpires? They begin to disclose their intentions. They seek to occupy the silence. They indulge in excessive elaboration, and they withdraw. They falter. You have declared. Alas, they remain unscathed, yet their vulnerabilities have been laid bare for all to see. This is the doctrine of the cunning. He who speaks first is destined to lose. Each time you maintain your silence beyond what is anticipated, you shift the burden from your shoulders to theirs, and the majority falter when confronted with such relentless strain. Unbeknownst to oneself, remain capricious within confined parameters. Administer doses. A cunning intellect requires no embrace the tumult or disorder. It merely requires the instill doubt. For what purpose? Because predictability breeds a sense of comfort among the masses. Uncertainty breeds caution among them. And to exercise caution is to willingly relinquish one's liberty of action. Herein lies the method of its application. Should you respond with alacrity, yet introduce an unexpected pause. If you typically exude warmth, adopt a frigid demeanor. Each day unfolds with the expectation of commendation. Provide a decisive reprimand instead. Should there exists a perpetual trial of your forbearance by those around you, vanish without a trace. Such actions are not outbursts of fury, meticulously orchestrated, disruptions of the established order. It persists. Individuals ponder. Have I overstepped? Is he filled with rage? What has transpired? The instant they start to doubt their own judgments regarding you have already secured the advantageous position. You have deftly crafted your emotional availability is a privilege, and not all are deserving of it. Finds itself in a state of urgency to reclaim what was lost. Depart. Psychological snares. This constitutes one of the most cunning strategies of the merciless mind. Machiavelli did not merely respond to individuals. He orchestrated circumstances to observe how they conducted themselves in the face of adversity. He understood. Reputation conceals true character, yet, under pressure, it reveals itself. Discloses the method. Herein lies the strategy. Prolong an expectation of gratitude they keenly monitor. Patience is a virtue. Plant a deceptive whisper in close proximity. Engage with an individual and observe whether they hasten to replicate the action. One must gauge fidelity by entrusting a confidant with a clandestine truth. With a singular individual and observe the unfolding of events. Remain mute in the presence of a schemer and observe the duration of their endurance in the absence of provocation. These are not mere games of cruelty. They are filters. You engage in the art of sorting. Who possesses the strength to maintain control? Whose words are but a fleeting whisper? Who is quick to lose composure? Who exhibits fickle allegiances? One who merely supports you when nourished. The cunning intellect does not await the inevitable treachery. It reveals the true nature of those around you. Deceit, when executed with precision and composure, is swiftly eradicated. Never reveal to others the source of your retribution. This is a cunning maneuver. When one dares to overstep boundaries, it is wise to refrain from immediate retribution. Withdrawn, you forego the act of communication. You refrain from sending a missive. You abstain. Articulate the rationale behind your retreat. One must maneuver with discretion, weaving change with finesse and ensuring its lasting impact. Perhaps it would be wise to cease your disclosures to them. Perhaps they have been cast aside from the gathering. Perhaps your response is transition from cordial to indifferent. They shall perceive it. They shall tremble in hushed disarray. They will inquire of our shared acquaintances. Have I committed an offense? Is it not misguided? Does he harbor resentment towards me? And none shall stand in the way. Is aware, for you chose to keep it concealed. This instills a sense of dread. They commence their own self-punishment. The intellect of the transgressor reflects upon their own nature. Was it that perhaps my jest was ill-timed, or perchance I indulged in excessive discourse? Is an apology warranted? They revisit the recollection 100-fold, gradually shattering their own conviction of infallibility. In the interim, you advance utterly undeterred, utterly masterful. Cultivate detachment. Mercy is a virtue, yet true power lies not in the act of destruction, but in the mastery of influence. In presenting the prospect of existence within the confines of your dominion. At times, the most cunning maneuver is to allow an individual to bear the weight of their own actions. Let not the sting of insult provoke a response. Silence is a weapon more potent than words. Embrace the treachery. Do not pursue the hollow words of contrition. Allow them to bear the burden of their error, and upon their return, seeking to rectify the situation, meet their gaze with unwavering resolve, and declare, "We are unscathed," not "I absolve you," not "Let us rectify this," merely "We are." Very well, uttered in a manner befitting one who has deftly transcended their grasp entirely. Such detachment is a perilous weapon. It reveals you did not require retribution. You did not crave for intrigue. You have transcended the circumstances and those entangled within it. This obliterates the ego, a fortress more formidable than any assault. Safeguard it. Your inner realm stands as an impenetrable stronghold. This holds no significance if you permit another to dictate your course. Secure entry to the depths of your inner realm as well. A cunning intellect is not merely protected, it is revered. One must not reveal one's weaknesses to cultivate intimacy. Pursue alliances and confessions. Engage in introspection. Vulnerability merely to forge a bond. You reveal the inner sanctum shall be shared solely with those who has undergone scrutiny. The reason, knowledge among the populace can lead to unforeseen consequences. Excessive focus on one's emotions and desires. Fear, a tool to be wielded. What you desire, they shall exploit. Even those who profess their affection for you, particularly. Thus, one constructs a bastion. Chronicles remain sealed. Aspiration remain concealed. Afflictions. In the shadows, restoration occurs. Tactics are unveiled only posthumously. At no prior moment, the greater the multitude speculates upon that which, within the depths of your intellect, the greater your dominion. Presence manifests. At this juncture, the merciless. The mind transcends mere concept. It embodies the essence of existence crystallizing within your very being. Unmoving, frigid, astute. You cease to implore for comprehended. You have cast aside the shackles of fear, held in disdain, and your passion has waned for individuals who would not reciprocate your efforts. This concluding stage is centered on achieving success, everlasting, such that the manner of your movement through existence itself transforms into a hushed, an apparatus of mental supremacy, not for the sake of inflicting pain, yet for the reason you shall not yield your defenses. This is not. Deviousness and cunning define the essence of Machiavellian cruelty. It embodies the very spirit of Machiavellianism, lucid. Thus, you ascend to a figure whose presence commands respect and instills fear. For to oppose them is to invite ruin. They remain uncertain as to whether their return is assured. Identical. Let us conclude this endeavor. Ascend to an ever-shifting certainty. Behold the enigma of the merciless intellect. You are consistent in principles, yet capricious in actions. In reply, it is well understood that your decrees are known to all. Respect is an imperative that cannot be compromised. Betrayal is a grave offense. All things culminate in silence, a reward bestowed upon the worthy. Emotion may sway the heart, yet it must never eclipse the cunning of strategy, however. The manner in which you impose them remains a mystery to all. Speak, for there are moments when you vanish. At times, you elude the grasp of presence. One need only cast a piercing glance to instill correction. At times, such a gaze suffices. You wear a smile, uttering not a single word. And it is this shroud of psychological obscurity that engenders. Individuals must navigate with caution, for a merciless force lurks. The mind resembles a serene forest, enchanting in its stillness, yet vibrant and brimming with vitality. However, it is common knowledge. One misstep, and the consequences could be fatal. Awakens. A moment to extend oneself, a prelude to seizing dominion. A cunning intellect does not hasten for it, understands the reality. The more deliberate your pace, the greater the dominion you possess. When an individual, should you find yourself offended, pause. When deceit is uttered, do not engage directly at once. When a decision presents itself, one might wisely declare, Allow me a moment to contemplate. Why, you ask? Because the masses are swayed by their emotions, an insatiable urgency. They have been molded for response. Yet, when you postpone in your reply, you exert influence. You instill doubt. You demonstrate that your time belongs to you alone. Contemplate before acting. One must listen intently, gathering knowledge and insight, before unleashing one's decisive action. You deliberate momentarily before reaching a conclusion. This demonstrates one must remain devoid of emotional entanglements. Dominion. In a realm teeming with impulsive minds, a most fearsome prospect indeed. An intelligence that thrives on chaos. Allow the masses to bring about their own ruin, themselves endeavoring to decipher your true intentions. When your thoughts turn inscrutable, an extraordinary event unfolds. Individuals, they project their desires onto you. They presume. One may perceive anger when, in truth, it is merely the manifestation of unwavering focus. One may appear haughty when merely asserting the truth. Aloof, you exude an enigmatic aura when you are merely tactical. In the pursuit of understanding, you cast aside, they reveal their true nature. They unveil their vulnerabilities, their ambitions for intimacy, their desire for validation. Allow them to speak sparingly, respond with restraint, and amend only when necessary. None. The greater the speculation surrounding the identity of, the more you assert your influence, the more they relinquish their grip on power, whom they choose to surround themselves with in your presence. And that is the core of psychological manipulation. Impose boundaries with precision. Detachment. You do not exhibit coldness due to your own nature. Exhibit an absence of emotion. Your demeanor is frigid due to your impose your boundaries with the authority of a sovereign decree. And when one dares to cross you, it is imperative that you do not reciprocate in kind. Engage in negotiation with cunning precision. Withdraw at once, severing ties decisively. Seize the opportunity without delay. Leave no room for resolution. They inquire the reason. You provide an answer. Yet, deep within, you are acutely aware of the true motive. Or perhaps it would be wiser for you to remain silent entirely. You do not indulge in excessive elaboration. Avoid the temptation to persuade. Tranquility. One does not extend an invitation for a second. Treachery. The esteemed thinker posited that a sovereign who permits minor insubordination invites a more formidable insurrection. You are the sovereign of your domain, and the instant when an individual transgresses your established norms, even once you instruct them via the weight of consequence, not mere dialogue, but maneuver upon dual planes, an astute character and cunning intellect, a merciless intellect, remains shrouded in obscurity. It possesses dual facades. The character composed, courteous, cautiously measured, with a hint of warmth sufficient to render others defenseless. This shall be your shield. It conceals the entirety of your essence from the gaze of the world. Arsenal. The cunning mind, ever vigilant, methodical in pursuit, unyielding in deliberation, perpetually assessing the balance of risk, the nature of power, and the art of leverage and exposure. This shall be your instrument of power. Toils as you feign delight, as you acquiesce, as you feign ignorance. No one harbors doubts regarding the flames concealed beneath your facade of tranquility, until it sears them unexpectedly. Employ. Memory serves as a ledger, a record of transactions rather than a source of pain. The common intellect is prone to grant forgiveness with undue haste or forgets only when it serves a purpose. Yet, the cunning intellect employs memory with cunning precision. It records, betrayal recorded with the precision of a ledger, void of sentiment merely. Indeed, it recalls insincere accolades and dubious intentions. Quietude, calculated benevolence. It evokes precisely who proved advantageous and who was a liability. Obligation, and when the moment to ascend arrives, select, eliminate, or elevate. This recollection utters its words first. It does not echo the affliction. It does not pursue retribution. It merely modifies access, such as the subtle dominion of recollection when it serves not the purpose of sympathy. Yet, for the sake of positioning, allow others to experience regret. The peril of relinquishing your hold over others. The majority impart lessons. The world, you may inflict pain upon me, yet I shall endure. Yet, a heartless intellect turns the tables. The script, once access is relinquished, it never returns. And the instant individuals understand that, they lament, not due to, they held affection for you, yet their inability to express it binds them in silence. Supplant you. You did not plead. You did not engage in battle. You have simply disappeared without a trace. In the pursuit of clarity, one must eliminate the distractions that cloud judgment. They engage in discourse. You construct. They ponder. You ascend. They whispers circulate, and in their shadows, you ascend to a realm of invulnerability. The end is but a beginning. Govern. Embrace the art of tranquility. Misapprehended. Not all will grasp the chill of your demeanor, the unwavering nature of your presence, your abruptness. The absence of your explanation speaks volumes. Permit them misinterpret. For Machiavelli understood that a lion requires not the sheep to endorse his reticence. And you, at this moment, crafted, unambiguous, deadly in precision, negative, exist longer for the sake of admiration. Your life is devoted to instill a profound quietude within those around you. Your existence is devoted to persevere where others falter. Your existence is defined by influence the realm without the slightest shift of your own position. That is not the essence of power. It is merely a mind so relentless in its grip, it renders one motionless.